Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back. I'm so glad that you guys are tuned in with me. My name is Anisha, otherwise known as MS Veteran here on MS&Me Radio. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to kind of veer off a little bit from the MS journey because I've got something weighing pretty heavy on my heart that I want to talk to you guys about. I've noticed a lot this week, over actually the past couple of weeks, talking with people, and they've actually had their loved ones and friends, walk out of their lives in the friendships, relationships, due to MS. And you know what? I want you guys to know that that is okay. Sometimes that is just going to happen, and that's okay. Because when you think about life and actually how life works, whenever you started school, in kindergarten, and your friends, if you were like me, I was lucky enough to go kindergarten through 12th grade in the exact same town. So all my friends were exactly the same, kindergarten through 12th grade. So once I graduated and joined the military, I was really afraid because I was leaving my friends. These are people I'd known my entire life, and I was leaving them. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I feel like this is a beginning, but I also feel like it's the end. But you know what? I've met so many great people when I went on active duty, just great. And then they were on the same walk as I was. So we had that in common. They had the same fear that I had because they had just left all their friends and graduated high school. And, here they are out in this big old world, just as I was. And there was an instant connection with them. It's kind of the same thing here with MS, because if you're part of MS groups, you'll notice that all these people in these groups, they are going through the exact same thing that you are. And although this disease feels like it's a curse, I know that it does. It feels like it's a curse. There's also a blessing to it, because you will meet other people that are walking the exact same path of multiple sclerosis that you are. Not only can they sympathize with you, but they can also empathize with you. They get it. They understand the type of pain that you're in. They understand the fatigue that you have, that when you say, I'm tired, that it is a type of tired that you've never felt before in your life. Like, they completely get it whenever you say, I have to take a nap after taking a shower. Just taking a shower completely exhausts me, okay? People with MS, they absolutely get it. And I have met some of the most beautiful people that have MS, that are part of MS groups. Amazing, amazing, beautiful people. So at the same time, I do know that it hurts. It hurts any time that anyone loses someone that means a whole lot to them. But you know what? Sometimes the man above does it for your protection. And I know that it's often hard to look at it like that, but sometimes that's just exactly what it is. And it's okay to grieve. It's okay to go through that process. But you know what? Just don't stay there for long, because there's still many people out there. People are going to come and go. That's just the way that life is, okay? Please, please, please don't get down on yourself. Don't let that MS depression hit. Just love yourself. And remember, you have to take care of yourself. And part of taking care of yourself is emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Okay? So you cannot let yourself emotionally get so down that you end up physically causing yourself to go into a relapse or a flare. One thing that I always say to people is that a rearview mirror is larger, or I'm sorry, a rearview mirror is smaller than the windshield. Okay? You know why? Because that windshield, when you're in a car, is so big so that you can see everything in front of you. And that rearview mirror is small. It's small because you want to spend a lot less time looking behind you, and you want to spend more time looking in front of you. And that's the exact same thing that you want to do with multiple sclerosis, okay? Each day that you get through, that you get by, that's a great day. That is just such a blessing. And when you wake up the next day, that day before you is it's behind you. It's in that rearview mirror. You're once again, when you're blessed to open your eyes, you're looking at that windshield and you're looking ahead of you to go and get through every second, every minute, every hour of that next day that you are in. Okay? I just want to make sure to remind you guys of that, because I know heartache, we all know it, but you know what? You just cannot allow it to let you become worse, to let it worsen your condition. Okay? I love you guys, and that's an important thing that I wanted to make sure to get off my chest, and it's been weighing on me, so I feel like maybe somebody out there needs to hear that. Now, we'll kind of get back to the journey a little bit. On the last show, I talked with you guys about getting to that diagnosis there and how that felt. And then it's like, what do you do? I now know I have MS. What do I do? Many people message me and they ask me, you know, do I tell my boss? How do I tell my boss? What do you think I should do? How do I tell my family? How do I tell my friends? You know what? My answer to everyone is to think about each and every person that you encounter and think about how they are, as a person, just in how they deal with things. And that will honestly give you the answer that you need and how you need to handle it. I know for some people with work, it can be very tricky because you're just afraid. And I get it. I completely understand. I do. But at least let one of your coworkers know that you have it in case something happens and you need to leave, or they need to call an ambulance or something to that effect. At least that one person knows that, so that they can speak for you in the event that you can't, so that they can be your voice in the event that you are unable to speak. Okay? When it comes to family and friends, that's not always easy. It's not always easy for our family to realize or to accept, because they're going to go through those 5 stages of grief when it comes to accepting, oh my gosh, my daughter, my son, my sister, my brother, my cousin, they have MS. It's not always easy for them to accept, because it's a scary thing. It completely is. But you know what? At some point, you may feel it out for yourself. If you're not quite ready to talk about it, That's understood, completely understood. But at some point, make sure that you do tell them. Because one thing that I've learned is that sometimes when you keep things from people, it hurts them. Because they'll then feel like, well, why didn't you tell me? You know how much I love you. Why didn't you tell me so that I could have been there for you, so that I could have been there to help you? So, in a way, if you just don't tell people sometimes, especially when it comes to friends and family, you then lower the amount of people that you have to be part of your support system. And that is very important that you have that great support system. So just make sure that you think about this, really good, because I know it can seem confusing, but it's just definitely something with, again, being a veteran to this and having to go through it myself. These are just kind of some hard knocks that I learned that I definitely make sure to share with others. Um, Also, going through with the journey with MS is it is so complicated sometimes to really wrap your head around the fact that you do have it. I know that I personally, although I accepted it, I went through those 5 stages of grief and I accepted it. There were still points that I went back and I said, man, I just don't think this is right. Like, this can't be. How was this missed for so long? This just cannot be the case. But you know what? It was the case. That was just me kind of still dabbling back with, accepting, and that's okay. We all are going to go through it. Me, I laughed so much that I cried, and I got that good cry out. And once I got that good cry out, I felt so much better. I really did. And because holding it in and just not processing it can make you angry. Um, and that's definitely not something that you need. For us, people always say, oh, you don't need stress. And you want to look at them and say, really? How's that possible? Like, life brings about stress, right? Every day there's something stressful that's going to happen. That's just a part of life. But what I think is more meant is when you have situations, no matter how big or how small, deal with them as they happen and then let it go. Again, that rearview mirror. Get it behind you. Deal with it. Get it behind you. Then you're looking again at the whole big windshield and you're looking forward and you're moving right along. Because this disease can be very tiring. Not just on you, also on caregivers. It can be very tiring. Um, that much I definitely know it can be tiring on caregivers, and they also need people to talk to. They need people that they can vent to as well, and that's okay. Please don't take it personal. If they say, I'm having a bad day, or they seem upset or a little grouchy, please don't take it personal. It's just as hard on them as it is on you. Okay? By no means am I saying stay in something that you shouldn't. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that sometimes the situation can just be very tiring on both parties. And that's whenever people just need to sit down and have a conversation. Okay? And that's honestly all right to do. Now, the next part of the journey that I want to talk to you guys about was when I was sitting in with that doctor, the neurologist, and he told me that we needed to get a medication picked out. And I'm thinking, a medication? Wow, okay. What do we mean here? And he gave me some pamphlets, which was for beta seron and copaxone. Those were the two that I had to choose from. So I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, these are shots? Like, how does this work? And I was just kind of blown away. So he explained to me how there would be a nurse that would come to my house and teach me and my daughter and my caregiver how to give me the shots and all of that. So that in itself was very, very scary. And I'm sure that some of you guys feel or felt the exact same way. You're like, here's this pamphlet that I'm supposed to read, and I'm just supposed to understand this stuff, and I don't get it because I'm not even absorbing the fact that you're telling me that I have multiple sclerosis. Like, I can't even get past that part, you know? That right there was just mind blowing to me. So at that point, I chose beta seron because it was an every other day shot. So I chose that one, and the nurse from Shared Solutions, she came out to my home. It was actually 2 days later, once the medicine came in, she came out to my home. She taught us how to give me the shots. She made me give myself the first shot in my stomach. I was able to do it, and the sound of that gun, oh my gosh, that auto inject, the sound of that thing just about made me faint. And it was actually cute because my daughter, who was younger at the time, she said, "Oh, Mama, the sound of that gun, I need some Tylenol because that just worked my nerves." And it cracked me up because, of course, Tylenol wasn't going to do anything for her nerves, but it was adorable to hear that from a kid. But that first shot for me, actually the first 20 shots were very nerve-wracking. It took me a while to get used to giving myself shots. It really did. It really did. And the side effects for me with beta seron, because again, some people end up, they're blessed, they have no side effects. You have other people that have a gamut of all of them. And then even the stuff that's just in the little 1%. I was one that I felt like I had the flu all the time. It was horrible. I had to take Tylenol 40 minutes before I took my shot. I would usually do it about an hour before to make sure it was in my system good. At first, I'd have to wake myself up every 4 hours. I had to do that for the first 4 months I was on that medication to make sure that I didn't run a fever at nighttime. So that took a lot of getting used to, and then, waking myself up during the night to do that. So I was completely exhausted all the time, but I got through it, and then went through beta seron and still continued to get lesions. So then went to Copaxone, and again, I was reading the little pamphlet, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is every day. How am I going to get through this one? But you know what? I got through that. Same thing, pretty much flu-like symptoms for me for the 3 or 4 years that I was on Copaxone. Exact same thing, very difficult. But it was something that I had to do. I did not want to go without a disease-modifying drug because I was progressing so fast with new lesions that at least with the disease-modifying drug, again, they are not a cure, but they can at least help to slow the progression of the disease down. So with the Copaxone, I stayed with that, worked through that. And then once they came out with Tecfidera, I went to the pill form, which was much better. That was, the 120 milligram capsule the first 7 days, twice a day. And then after that, your maintenance dose, which is 240 milligram capsule twice a day. Oh, boy, what a relief that was. Oh, what a relief. And what I always tell people too is to make sure that you keep a journal whenever you start your medications, okay, your disease modifying drug, if that is what you choose to do. Keep a journal even down to what you eat, how you feel, any side effects, no matter what it is. Keep a journal starting from day one, and then you're going to keep this journal for about 6 months, okay? And that way, whenever you go to your doctor's visits, you got your journal right there. You're able to talk to your doctor about everything that's going on with you while you're, starting that medication, so that the doctor's well aware of everything, because guess what? You've got it all documented right there. Something pretty quick and easy to do every day. And a lot of these manufacturers, pharmaceuticals companies, they send you all the swag stuff, with little books and all that. So just grab you something and throw it in there where you can, write down stuff every day. And that way you and your doctor can definitely be on the same course, because again, it's not just about the doctor and what the doctor's going to say to you. It's also about what you have to say to the doctor, because the two of you are working together on your treatment plan. Please never forget that your treatment plan is comprised of you, the patient, and also your doctor. It is the two of you working together. Okay? That is so important for us to remember, because again, we have to advocate for ourselves. And given that sometimes some medications can cause cog fog, otherwise known as, cognitive issues, and sometimes we tend to forget things or, whatever. But if every day we're writing stuff down, when it happens, guess what? Then you got it all right there, and it's all in a lovely one notebook, and you can show it to your doctor, and you've got every bit of it. And you're not sitting there saying, oh my gosh, what do I do because I can't remember. You got it right there. Journals are great things to keep. Journals are also great to keep if you're having and experiencing new symptoms of your MS, okay? Keep journals. They're great to have. Have one for your medication, have one for your symptoms. They're very, very good to have. Another thing for us, I know for me personally, I went through a program which was absolutely great with the doctor. And what he brought me back to was something that I had gotten away from, and that was time management. And once he brought me back to that, I noticed that I felt so much better, because literally I take a piece of paper that has from midnight to midnight, okay, 24 hours on a piece of paper. And I write down from even what time I'm going to bed, to what time I'm waking up, to what time I'm going to take my medication, to what time I'm going to brush my teeth, take my shower, take my medicine, eat my lunch, just everything. And I have it mapped out, for the week, even with laundry, all that type of stuff. You know what? It helped me so much to get some organization back. And also, because of us having MS and the fatigue that we experience, I also program in to that my naps, okay? Because I'm guilty of resisting arrest as a kid, but I promise you now, as an adult with MS, I love my naps, okay? They are a must have. But if you tend to program them into your day, you will then see a lot more productivity in things that you're able to get done. And also, you will stop yourself from that crash and burn theory, because what a lot of us are guilty of doing is we'll do so much in one day, and the next thing you know, the next day or even the next 3 days, we cannot do anything because we did so much that one day, and we were just like soaring, I mean going, and then bam, crash and burn, and the next week we are laid up and we cannot do anything at all. Please do not put yourself and your body through that. Map out your stuff. It is such a great thing to do. Again, this is just a suggestion from me. I can't tell you guys what to do. I'm only suggesting something that works very, very well for me and many other people who went through this program with me as well. It is such a great thing to do. And it does feel good whenever you sit down and you say, I have time to take a 2.5 hour nap this day. It feels really, really good to say that. Now, kind of getting ready to wrap up here for this week's show. I want you guys to know, again, please know that sometimes things just don't work out. Even if we have MS, even if we don't have MS, things just don't work out. And that's okay. And I know that it breaks our hearts even more because we're sick and we really feel like we need these people. We want these people to stay in our lives because we are sick. And that is such a stressor for us to just have someone up and leave. But you know what? It's okay if they do. It is absolutely okay. It's okay because what you have to again think about is yourself. Excuse me, you have to think about yourself. You have to think about your health. You have to think about the fact that if you let yourself get down and out too bad, you are just really in the market for a bad relapse or a flare. And that's absolutely what you do not need. You just do not need it. Love yourself. Love the skin that you're in. You don't have to love the myelin sheath. So you definitely don't because it does give us issues. But love yourself. Love yourself. And take good care of yourself. And that's emotionally, physically, and spiritually. Take care of yourself in all aspects of your life. And you will see that days are brighter. Everything's not so bad. Everything's not so bad. And again, keeping a journal with the meds when you're starting them. That's very important because then when you go back to see your doctor, you and your doctor, you two are working as a team for your treatment plan. You're working as a team. And also, again, time management is something that is extremely healthy. I can't tell you what to do, but I can suggest it. And I do highly suggest it that if you just feel like everything is chaotic and just out there, that is something that will definitely help you out so much. All right, so we're getting close to wrapping up this week's show. Again, I want to give a big thanks to MS&Me Radio, also MSGSN. Again, thanks to all of you guys for listening and tuning in. And if you guys ever have, any questions whatsoever, feel free to join the MS&Me groups. There's many groups that are out there, and you'll be able to ask your questions there, and we'll definitely get to them. And thank you guys so much for joining and listening. And stay tuned. We got a lot more to go with this journey. Love you guys. Take care.